back. This is the third video of the Energy Balancing with Faith overview. So in the first video, you should have learned why we're doing energy healing and what energy is. And the second video, you should have learned how to do it. So the 10 steps of what we do to energy heal, really. And hopefully that makes sense and it's simple for you. So the idea of what we're trying to do is to change the foundations, where we're planted. So that's the thoughts and the beliefs, right? So we want to adopt good, healthy thoughts and beliefs that align us with Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. So today we're going to talk about adopting those positive, healthy beliefs. Some of us don't know what to adopt, even though we want to change at the belief level. So we'll talk about that. So we're going to cover all the areas. We're going to do the money, the love, relationship, growth, work, learning, success, but business, health, body, joy, and God and spirituality. So all of that area, we'll cover that today, okay? So what I invite you to do is connect to God and help yourself apply what you need to apply to your own needs. Okay, there's a lot of different variations of the individual needs of everybody, but the Spirit of God will help you adopt it. And basically what we're trying to do is set a strong foundation, and then from that foundation you'll be able to do a lot of good. But just remember that what we're trying to do here is to keep the first and second commandment very well and to apply what we know to all the areas of our lives so that these two commandments can be kept well. Sometimes we think of it as one simple thing, yeah, I love God, but do we show it? Do we act it? And there are false beliefs underneath there. There are false thoughts that are under there that actually keep us from fully loving God, fully trusting in God, and of course loving ourselves and loving others. But once we get all this down, the foundation down, everything is an appendage to these two great commandments. All right, so I hope you can see that. So the first topic we're going to cover is money and riches. Okay, so money is neutral. So get that foundation down. It's neither bad nor good. The love of money is bad, yes, because we're connecting our heart to anything. That's the idol, right? That's not loving God first. But really, it's neutral. So if you think money is bad, you're not going to get a lot of money. If you think it's evil, then you don't want to be associated with it. Even though you need it to pay the bills and stuff, you're going to subconsciously self-sabotage over and over. Okay, so I'll tell you a few things that I know about money, and hopefully it'll help you create some more good foundations, and then you can take that knowledge and run with it. Okay, so there's a abundance versus scarcity mentality that you have to understand. So abundance is all about faith. Okay, there's love, faith, integrity, compassion, growth, collaboration. That means we, you, me, we win. Everyone's winning. And creativity. Okay, and we need to dig in there and really change some of the false beliefs that our ancestors have given us, like money doesn't grow on trees, and money's hard to come by. We may not have money, but at least we have integrity, or whatever it is. So suggesting that money is bad, right? So there's this scarcity mentality, there's fear, there's doubt, there's selfishness, resentment, resisting change, isolation, and competition. If they have, I don't, right? What goes around should come around, so you can have this abundance. Okay, so there's the difference. So if you catch yourself on the scarcity mentality side, then move it out and move out of there and be on the abundance mentality and train your whole being to adopt more abundance. Okay, there's plenty of things you can read about it, but I just wanted to introduce that to you. Okay, so the next point here is about the parable of the talents. Okay, basically this parable is about being a great steward of God's resources to do good. Okay, so God has given you some stuff, you make the most of it and magnify it. Okay, so the parable goes like this. A master has 3 servants, he's going away, he's given his servants some things to take care of. One servant gets 1, the other servant gets 2 talents, and the other servant gets 5. The one who has 5 and 2, they doubled it, their talents. And the one that had 1, he buried it. The master comes home, the master says, okay, you know, these 2 guys say, hey, I've doubled it, and you know, whatever you've given. And the master says the same thing to these 2 guys. Well done, thou you know, good and faithful servant. And the guy who buried it, the master says, well, thou wicked and slothful servant, right? So we don't want to be the wicked and slothful guy, right? God has given us whatever he's given us, even if we think that it's not much, he's given us that. We need to magnify it. We need to invest it and do something with it to build his kingdom, basically, right? So remember, we are conduits of God's resources. So if you are up to it and you want to serve God well, right, and you want to magnify your calling on earth, whatever it is he's given you, you can think of a way to use what little you have to make the most of this world, right? So I understand that, because that's where I came from, that scarcity mentality, that one talent, I'm not much, I'm small, I'm nothing, right? To now I'm thinking, whatever he's given me, it must be sufficient and enough for me to do what I need to do in this world. And then as I grew and as I opened myself up to more responsibilities from heaven, then the money keeps coming in, right? And it's just never ending conduit. And so I say, here's all the resources, the time, the talents, the money that I have. What do I do with it, God? Okay, so remember, money pays for your churches and it pays for your Bibles and scriptures and things like that. It's not bad, right? Just understand that it is neutral, that you can be a good steward of it. Okay, it shows gratitude. All right, so the other thing too is money magnifies who you are. So if you're a good person, you can do more good, right? And if you're not so good, you know, it magnifies, it kind of tells the world. So sometimes we see in the news the 3% of the very, very rich people, they're kind of crazy. But what about the 97% of those people who are rich? You know, they can do some fantastic things. I have a relative and she does amazing things for people all the time. She's doing the philanthropical stuff. She's organizing stuff with my parents, and they do all sorts of good things. They spend all their time doing that. So why not? Okay, instead of spending your time, you know, trying to make ends meet and pay all your bills, why can't we have that mentality where we're not holding buckets, we're not counting the hours anymore. We have this stream of money coming through, right? We call it the buckets versus pipeline mentality, where we have the funds that fund us and provide resources for us so that we can go and serve. So let's get a goal to be free to serve, right? So if I'm talking to the people who are filled with faith, hopefully, who love Jesus, who want to serve, that's what we want to do, yeah? Okay, so be the conduit for blessings. Through you, God can bless the world. Your relationship with money reflects your spiritual health. All right, so just remember that. Okay, so if you think, oh, I only have this much, well then who is holding the umbrella up when God is trying to rain down blessings? I have worked with lots of people, and so many people, because they hold on to their own pride, their own outlook of how the world should be, they hold up that umbrella and they leave money on the table when, you know, if they can do this and this and this, they will have this X amount of money. And I see that all the time. But you know what? They have to choose to put that umbrella down and allow God to rain upon them, you know, the beautiful blessings that he wants to. Okay? So remember to check your heart. Is your heart attached to money? We don't want our heart to be attached to money. We want our heart to be attached to God. That's the first commandment. So once we are connected to God, if he says, well, dude, I need you to go and do this, he will provide the way. And it's always like that. And a lot of you might think, okay, how does it work in accounting? This is only X amount of money and, you know, this is how it works. Well, I'm going to tell you, in God's accounting world, it doesn't add up sometimes. You can be a great steward and you can really account for everything you spend, fantastic. But when he says jump, you say, okay, I'll find a way, we'll work it out. I'll have to open it up to heaven so the heaven can provide. And it's always been like that. If I needed to take a trip somehow, somewhere, money comes to me. So your new belief could be, money comes to me in every which way. God provides for me to do my mission on earth, okay? And I'm open to his blessings. And, you know, I make the most of everything he's given me, okay? So do you feel security and importance in money or in God? So you're going to check that heart. So you need to rearrange priorities a little bit, and once it's rearranged properly, the money keeps coming through, okay? When I'm obedient and when I hear his instructions and I try to do it without overthinking, because you don't have all the answers, okay? So you need to be out of your head and into your heart and just act before you know everything, all right? You hold yourself back because you're not sure of everything, because it doesn't make sense, it doesn't compute, then you're not acting on faith. Right? So your heart needs to be attached to God, and then the money thing, you know, you figure it out the best you can, but you're not going to overdo that, because you know that somehow, somewhere, God's going to provide the rest for you. And it always works. Okay? And once you get it once, you get it again and again, your faith grows and your abundance grows. Okay? So where your heart is, that there lies your faith. All right? So if you feel like, oh, I've got a lot of money now I'm safe, then your heart is in money. But it's God that keeps me safe. And if I were to die, so be it. If I were to starve, so be it, right? But remember, have you asked? Have you asked God for more? Have you asked God for a specific amount? You know, recently I needed to do a certain thing, and I said, well, God, I need to squeeze out of the budget this extra thing. And, you know, some of the things actually we didn't have to pay for, and then there it came. And then money from other places came. Right, and then did that. And when my prayers were answered, right, what did it do for me? It didn't make me spoilt because, oh, I asked God something and he gave it to me. It strengthened my faith, right? Because I see specifically that must have been from him and nowhere else, because I asked for that specific amount, right? So there you go. All right, ask God, I need to do this. I feel like God wants me to do that. God, please provide a way for that to happen. And you have to be willing to act as he shows you how to do it. Okay, call the people you need to call, you know, do whatever it is that you need to do. So if money was never an issue, what would you love to do? And that's another thing too. Some of us are so caught up in making the bills and paying the bills and making the next buck, you know, so caught up in that, that we forget where our heart needs to be. Okay, it's connected to God, but being connected to God means that you're aligning yourself to his purpose. So if money and time wasn't a problem for you, what would you do with your life? If you paid off all the bills, if you paid off all the houses, all the debts, no credit cards, nothing. You've traveled, you've provided for your children, everything is done. Now what? What are you here to do? All right, and once you get that, you think, oh my gosh, this is what I need to do. Then bingo, keep that focus, because then God will provide a way for you to keep doing that task, okay, or those tasks that you're meant to do here. All right, for me, I learned that God has given me an ability to teach. All right, I may not be the best teacher in the world, doesn't matter. I can teach, and I should teach, and I need to teach. And what is it that I'm teaching? I need to teach the gospel, and I need to teach it through energy healing, because we're healing the mind, the body, and spirit, okay? And this gospel is in there because the body is telling us how to change or repent according to each individual need, all right? And so that's my mission. And then I feel that because I understand it, when I need to have the time, the space, God has provided the home for me, the space. He provided the funds for me so that I don't have to worry about the bills. Actually, I don't know what my bills are anymore because my husband takes care of it and automated, because I chose not to think about those things. I chose to just deal with it and let it do its thing, and then I chose to be a conduit. Okay, so I have the funds to go to the places I need to go when I need to go to it. Amazing, guys. This can be you as well. Okay, so the next topic we're going to talk about is relationships. All right, so we have to hook onto God's love, and then you know how to love yourself. So if you connect yourself and love God and How do you love God? You know, think about that. You just declare it. You know, love is an action word, right? So you want to see his blessings. You have to have eyes to see how much love he has for you and receive it, okay? So when you love yourself like God loves you, then you know how to love others more fully. So when you love yourself the way God loves you, as best as you can, you are kind to yourself. You're not going to tell yourself off, you know, so harshly. You're not going to put yourself down, and you're not going to judge yourself. And guess what? Because you're so nice to yourself, you're going to be nice to others, right? So when you become more tolerant and have more spiritual perspective, and you're not judging, you know, you won't judge others, right? So you have all this love from God, and you're connected to him. It's like you're plugged into the water source. And in the scriptures it talks about, you know, you thirst no more, right? So if your glass is full, and it's always full, you can help empty it out into other people's glasses too. But hopefully, as they drink, you want to tell them where that water is coming from, all right? And help them connect back to God so that their cup is always filled as well, okay? So remember, when you're kind to yourself, you're not going to judge, and you need to save judgment for God, because that's his job. So if you judge, then you're taking over his job, okay? So remember, your only job is to love unconditionally. So your husband, your friends, you know, find a way to love them, right? He's filled your cup, find a way to help them fill their cup. And when they taste the sweetness of love, then you can send them off and say, this is where I got my water from, right? And then that's it, right? So no matter what they have chosen, you can still have that unconditional love for them, right? And it's so powerful because it changes lives. They can choose either way. So like my children, I told them, I give them permission. If God tells them different, and I give them permission to disobey me, because I don't know everything. I've never been a mother before they came along. And same with my husband, you know, if he feels differently, if God tells him something, you know, and I feel different, then I have to check in with him, all right, with him, God. And then, you know, we come closer to God, and then we come closer to each other. So it's awesome. It's very simple. So I'll give you a few other things too. So annoying people in your lives are the mirrors to give you feedback about false beliefs you believe, okay? What is a subconscious fear that you might have but don't quite see? So whatever it is that people say and do around you, it's going to push your buttons, and be grateful for it. Because when you get upset and you say, oh, he hurt me, right? We're not going to blame. So we're going to take that and go, why was I hurt? Why did I choose to be hurt? Okay. Then you say, what false beliefs do I have about this topic, right? What is it that I'm broadcasting? So some of us might be broadcasting, I'm not good enough. So when people say things, that's what we read into it, right? And we say, oh, she doesn't think so, I'm good enough, right? I'm so upset. So what you need to do is say, well, do I have a false belief that I'm not good enough? And muscle test that, boom, yes. Okay, you can say, well, is that me? Did I think that originally? Yes. Nope, it's not strong. Well, is it inherited from my father? Is it? Yes. And then muscle test that. Nope. Is it inherited from my mother? Go yes. First, if it's yes, go strong. And boom, yeah, it's my mom. Right? Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Does it go beyond mom? Go strong for yes. Yeah, it goes beyond mom. Oh, it's my grandma. Yep. Does it go beyond her? Nope. So, okay, 2-3 generations back of these women feeling like they're not enough. So you can say deep breath in and release. And then you say, I am enough. That's it, right? And pick an oil that you need to smell and use for how long? 1 to 2 days, okay, 2 days, or weeks, month, or whatever it is. And then you say, I'm enough, as you're using those oils, and rewire your brain, okay? And then if people make those same comments, it shouldn't faze you. You'd be like, okay. So I'll give an example. I was doing Diamond Club in doTERRA, and Diamond Club is a time that you go away and you try to build this foundation. I knew that God wanted me to do that. I fought him at first because I made all the excuses that everyone else makes. I have no time, I have no money, you know, I've got kids. And then God said, well, this is why you need to do it. I'm going to help you with this so that you can be free to serve. So after I, made peace with him, I decided, yeah, I'm going to do this. So I had to arrange my life so that my husband can take the kids and do stuff with them. We had my mom and other people helping out. So you can imagine when he goes to church, I'm not there, and he's there with the kids. So one particular woman at church, she saw that I wasn't around. So she decided that I wasn't a good mother, right? So I'm not a good mom. So, in the past, there was one lady who, because I was feeding my daughter at church, and she was like, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. You don't do that, da, 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 da. And it hurt me because I felt like she judged me and thought that I wasn't a good mom. And why? Why did it hurt me, right? Because I believed that I wasn't a good mom. That was my subconscious. I wasn't conscious of it. I was trying really hard to be a good mom, right? But my subconscious believed that I was a bad mom, or I'm not a good mom, okay? So that was what my heart was broadcasting. And then that lady, she said, oh, you shouldn't be feeding her that. And then it kind of hurt me. But I chose that hurt, right? But since then, I've healed. So this one woman at church, during this Diamond Club, she thought that I was a bad mom. And she told me so. And you know what? I didn't hurt. And I kind of laughed like, okay, it didn't faze me because I knew I was on a mission, and I knew that she didn't understand, and it was okay because I didn't need her to understand. I understood that I was a good mom, right? Because Heavenly Father has told me I was good, and I had already since changed that belief. So it was awesome because it was great feedback for me, because I'm like, yeah, I think I'm good. I'm good enough, I could do better, of course, but this is all the kids have, and I'll keep improving, and that's fine. I'm at peace with me. So I was so grateful that, and of course she's my friend now and everything, but when she gave me that feedback, I thought, no, it didn't hurt at all. I healed. So you have that responsibility too. So when people say things to you that trigger some pain, some discomfort, you ask yourself, do I have that as a false belief subconsciously? Have I adopted that, inherited from someone? Is that me? Doesn't matter, okay? Quickly make that positive change, and then when it ever happens again, it shouldn't faze you. It shouldn't hurt because you've resolved it. It's so liberating, right? And, because now I broadcast that new belief, I get people praising me for being a great mom all the time. And I'm like, yeah, cool, I like this. And people, if they don't, then that's their problem, isn't it, right? So ask yourself, what truth hurts? Make a list of it, okay? Do one thing at a time. And again, it's time to check your heart. Okay, what is your heart attached to? Is your heart attached to when my husband understands me, when my children grows up and helps out, when? Okay, if your heart is attached to people who are humans, who are not perfect, then you've got some things to change. You need to attach yourself to somebody that's more of a strong, firm foundation, which is God. And this is the first commandment, right? So your love needs to be unconditional. Your husband can be crazy cuckoo, and you can still love him, right? Because you are on your own path. He is on his path, right? Your children, love them as they learn how to be saints. We're humans. We're trying to be saints, and they can fail and they can mess up. Make it safe for them. When your heart is not attached to people and their choices, then you make it safe for them to be human and to be themselves around you, okay? Then when you stop judging yourself, you stop judging them, okay? Are you feeling security and importance from others or in God, right? So do you need people's validation? Because if that is the case, then you're still attached to people. I'm happy when my husband says I'm beautiful, when my friends tell me I'm beautiful, right? No, you're happy because you're a child of God, right? If you look at a child, a newborn child, that child doesn't have to do anything to earn or to be worthy of your love. That child is loved because he's yours or she's yours. You are loved because you're God's. You don't have to earn it and be worthy. He wants you to progress so that you can earn a certain place in his kingdom. But to earn his love and his blessings, no, you don't need to. All you need to be is yourself and be connected to him and know that he's there. Okay? So don't make that judgment whether you're worthy or not. Let him do that. Okay? So where your heart is, there lies your faith. Remember that? Okay? So ask yourself, am I unhappy because my son didn't get this award and that award, or I'm so happy because my daughter is straight A student or whatever. Okay, your happiness needs to be in the love of God. Okay, and unattached. I mean, it adds to your happiness, but your very first foundational happiness is in God. Okay. Help others connect back to God too, and not you. So when people are hooking onto your energy, they're needing you to give them that love, right? It's because they haven't attached themselves to God. So as you attach yourself to God, then you can, like I said, pour love into other people's cup as a sample of where they can really get that source of love from. Okay, so I had a mother, she complained about her daughter and not having a good relationship with her. And I said to her, it seems like it's inherited from your mum. And I said, do you have great relationship with your mum? And she said, oh, no. And I said, so your mum doesn't have love for herself, and so she doesn't have love to give you, and you don't have love for yourself, and you don't have love to give to your daughter, and your daughter's like trying to get love from you, right? And I said, all of you need to fill your own cups, connect back to God, and then you can pour love in and out of each other's cups, right? So that's the best way to do it. Okay, so you've seen this picture before, I'm sure. As we become closer to God, we become closer to each other in that triangle, okay? Because the space between this triangle gets more narrow as we get closer to the top. All right, so help others hook onto God. So there's that codependency versus interdependency. So you can do more when you're connected to each other, okay? So you make a dream team with your friends. Us humans, we need to be connected with people. So if you in your heart go, oh, I'm going to be, with myself, and I like being just, alone all the time, then, there's times that we need to have stillness and space, but, we need to have that collaboration and community as humans. We need to have that connection. Okay, so remember to be unattached. Your happiness is unconditional. You're just happy because you're here, that you have this opportunity. You're happy because you're a child of God. Release and free others. They will be safe with you. Okay, tell yourself in your mind, if my son or my daughter, whatever, she does the thing that you're fearful of, I will still love them anyways. Okay. Okay, you are not responsible for other people's happiness. So if you're attached to them and their happiness, then you'll be happy. We're humans. We're going to mess up, and you're going to be unhappy for all your life. Okay, when you show your family what happiness is, then they will be happy too. When you're connected to God and you have your sense of peace and happiness, then you invite everyone else to. Because if you're attaching to them, they're attaching to you. Who has the power? No one. We all need the power from God. God has the power. So as you connect to that power source, then we all have power. Okay? So honor your agency or your power to choose. You can choose to be attached to people or not attached to people. When you're attached to people, sometimes they're used to dumping their stuff onto you, their responsibility for happiness. I'm happy when you can do this and this and this, right? So they're doing a lot of the blaming, a lot of the dumping, and you taking it on. Sometimes people have a need to be needed, all right? So the beautiful truth and new belief that you can adopt is, I'm unattached to everybody's happiness, right? I'm responsible for my happiness, and I'm connected to God. Okay, so once you're there, then you can bless the world and give them samples of love, and then help them remember where to go to get that love. Yeah? All right, moving on to the next topic, growth, learning, and success. So objective is progression. Okay, the objective here is progression. You are sent here to succeed. God is very intelligent and He's loving. He's prepared all needful things for your success. He didn't say, good luck, hope you figure it out. All right, there's compasses like your body. There's, signs everywhere to help you succeed. Being an intelligent, loving father and mother you have prepared things for your children. You would never send your kids out in the snow without helping them put their shoes and socks and coats on, right? Or send them off to school with no lunch, right? That doesn't make sense. Being loving, being intelligent that you will do that. But God is even more so. He sent you here on earth. He will provide, but you need to let Him. He will clothe you. He will bless you with abundance, bless you with all the health that you need. But you have to allow Him. So your foundational belief is, God provides. God helps me learn and grow. I can learn and grow. You can never stop progressing. Okay? So if you think that you're an old dog and that can't learn new tricks, well, you're damned, right? Your progression is damned. All right? So failure is necessary, all right, for success. You need to be kind to yourself. If you mess up, don't lecture and parent yourself, okay? So you have, this ability to parent yourself by telling yourself off. But what that really is sending a message to you is saying, you can't be trusted, you mess up. Okay, the natural consequence of our mistakes is sufficient. You touch fire, you get burned. That is sufficient punishment. That's God's way of punishing us. That's sufficient. Don't add to it. Don't play God. Okay, don't send yourself to timeout and then give yourself a tongue lashing on top of the pain that you've already experienced. Now, because when you do so, it backfires. It says, you're not good. You're not trustworthy. You are not enough. All right, you mess up. So those negative messages are sent to you, okay, through that punishment. Okay, remember, God is more concerned about your progression than your comfort. So we talked about the comfort zone, remember? Okay, yes, you are comfortable, but guess what? He's not sent you here to be comfortable right now. You'll be comfortable later. But you need to be right outside that comfort zone where you stretched a little bit, right? Not too far out where you're frustrated, but just a little bit where you're growing. And that comfort zone keeps growing as you get used to that stretch. Okay, and then it keeps growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and that comfort zone will be so big before you know it. And you have such an ability to talk in front of people, to travel, to do things, right? But if you stay in that comfort zone, it'll shrink and shrink and shrink. Okay, because the longer you stay there, the more uncomfortable you become. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Your definition of a success is not necessarily the same as God's. So if you think, when I have a house, when I have a car, when my house is like this, then I'll be happy. Really? Check in with God. Check in with that plan, okay? Because sometimes His plan is different to you. I thought that I was supposed to be a lawyer. I went to law school. Okay, I did well in school, but it just felt wrong. So when I stepped into that path, it just got more dark and depressing. And I had no idea why. And I kept on going, and it just kept getting darker, and then bing, 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 I got it. I'm like, maybe this is not the path for me. All right, and then I went to teach. So I did fantastic in teaching. And I thought, oh, okay, this is how I do it. I'm a successful teacher. I kept on teaching but very soon God wanted me to go on another path. But in my human understanding, I thought, well, that's what I graduated in, that's what I do. No, okay? That's how it is. God's success is so different to your understanding. The job that you're meant to have, or the life that you're meant to have, is better when He helps you plan it. Right? You may have an idea, but He magnifies it for you. So right now I feel so fulfilled, and I understand why I went to law school, and because it really helped my husband get into law school. Not that, he didn't do it himself, he did it. But, with the teaching, it taught me how to teach, how humans learn, all right? And I got all the skills that I need, apparently, because when I was done, I was done. And he helped, and I learned so much during that short amount of time, 11 years. And he now uses all those gifts and talents and skills that I have developed through that journey of mine to do what I'm doing now. So how cool is that? So whatever his definition of success is, be open to it. I mean, you do have a say, because this is your life, and you've planned it out, but he's reminding you how it can be better than your limited human understanding. All right, so be open to that. Follow your heart and your gut. Got a gut feeling about something, got your heart feelings about it. Okay, make sure your heart is burning and your mind is still with clarity. Okay, clarity doesn't mean you have all the knowledge. Clarity just means I see clearly that this is God's will. That's it. Okay, or your mind will never know everything first, all the details, how it all fits together, the whys, right? Understanding will come after, always after you take action. Okay, always. So just take a couple of steps forward. You can see that things fall into place. You can see that things will lighten and brighten. And then that's evidence that you're heading the right direction. And a couple of years from then, you look back and you say, oh, I see now. I get it now. Right? It makes sense now. I have this knowledge now. Okay, that's how it works. Right? Some of us wait until we know everything, wait until it makes sense, wait until the accounting all adds up. Right? So if we see clearly that it is God's purpose and will, and our heart is burning and our gut is going, yeah, then just do it, okay? And things will fall into place, and that faith will grow until the day that, you hear clear instructions from God. Because I can't imagine Noah, building his ark on fuzzy wuzzies. He would have had the exact dimensions, okay, to build what he built, okay, because it had to, withstand a massive storm. Amazing. All right, so let's talk about work and business. So when you serve with your gifts and talents, you will be successful. All right, so you don't have to be like anybody else. Oh, so-and-so's in this profession, I should do that because that will make money. Really? Like, I don't tell my kids, oh, study hard so you can go to college and study something so that you can graduate, so you can find a job and work for somebody else. Right? No. I ask them what their gifts and talents are, what gives them life. Okay? Because they're creators, they're mini creators. We are all practicing our creative powers because we are children of God. He is our creator. We are mini gods in training. So like there's some professions, some jobs, something out there that has not been created yet. And you, being you, will create it when you are aligned to who you are. So there's never been a Steve Jobs until Steve Jobs came along, right? People said, well, who needs a personal computer, right? And now everyone has their personal computer, right? That's their phone, their iPhone, right? So connection to God will always give us the power to create. And that's another reason why we need to connect to God and love Him, because He will inspire us and say, beep, beep, here's the way to do it. All right, that gives you life. Keep doing that. That gives you more life. And sometimes it looks like it's easy for you, and you think, oh, it's too easy. Well, it should be ease and flow, because you already have the keys for this, right? So we take an example of Michael Jordan. Okay, he's a basketball player. So he's good at basketball, for example. You know, not that he didn't make mistakes in basketball, but he is good at it. And so, you know, you can't say, hey, Michael, you're not well balanced. You know, you should do golf, right? You need to balance up and do more golf, because that will help you be happy, right? But we do that. It doesn't make sense, right? But we do that to ourselves. You know, I just do this and I just keep doing this, and our kids, they should be well-rounded. I mean, that's a false belief. Well-rounded equals happy. Sometimes, you know, having a lot of skills will help, but you know, ask yourself what gives you life, because you know, in the Strength Finder book, they say that those people with gifts and talents, when they apply themselves to those gifts and talents, it's not only easy, but those gifts and talents magnify exponentially. So if you push through and do things that you're weak at, that you're not talented in, it's a ridiculous amount of effort for very little growth. Okay? And really, do you need to be like that and do those things? Maybe not. Okay, so look for self-sabotaging patterns in your business, in your life, and then resolve them by connecting to God through faith. And really, it's part of serving humanity. All businesses and work is serving humanity in some ways. You've got a need, okay, that you need to meet, and you need to help people solve, fulfill people's needs in some way that they will pay you the value that they see in that product or that service. Okay, you will know that you are doing it right when you are filled with more life and there is ease and flow in your life. Okay, so remember that. You know, you don't have to be like everyone else. You don't have to do whatever it is that you need to do like anybody else. Okay, do what feels right. Follow that heart, follow that gut, and then you'll see that you know, you'll create something, you know, new. Even if it's similar to other people, it'll be special and unique because it's you. Okay, so the next topic is mind, body, and health. All right, so remember to keep the eternal perspective. There's a reason for all sicknesses and disease. If your neck hurts, there's a reason for that, a spiritual reason. God's telling you to turn places. If you're carrying too much and your shoulders hurt, all right, you're shouldering responsibilities that are not yours. You're attaching your happiness to other people's happiness. Whatever it is, okay, hand back some of the responsibilities. Hand it back to God. Put that on the altar. All right, so there's always... So, you know, it's easy to be human and go, well, I didn't drink a lot of water. That's why I got a headache. Well, why didn't you drink a lot of water, right? You didn't see clearly how to take care of your body, right? And didn't keep that eternal perspective, okay? Even though it's water. Water represents clarity. Water represents cleanliness. Are you holding on to some dirty, negative thoughts, right? Impure thoughts. So you can see everything has a spiritual side of it. If you can't see that spiritual side and you remain on that physical plane, then you're missing out on some great learning opportunities. Okay, so what happens on a spiritual level will manifest itself on the physical level. Your body is your compass, so stay on track. So I had some hip problems for about 5 years. I've got a lot of chiropractic friends that helped me with that. And you know how I resolved it? I had to peel a layer off at a time. HIP is about making big decisions, and I thought I made some big decisions already. But it got to the point where it wasn't hurting a lot, but it was a nag, and I thought there shouldn't be a little nag. There should be, you know, mobility. So I was forced to lay down one day because I woke up with a bad headache. And then I laid there. And I was realizing I was in my head too much. I was overthinking some big decisions that I've been receiving over and over from God, from many different sources and many different signs. And then I thought, what if I let go of all of those excuses? God will help me resolve those things. And when I did, when I chose to let go, my hips automatically felt better. And my head stopped hurting. And that told me that I found it, that I did what I needed to do on that spiritual level. And that night I did go to a chiropractor to help look at my back and my hips and things. And she's like, whoa, what did you do? Your hips are even. And I thought, oh boy, bingo, right? So if you're still suffering from certain health concerns, right, just know that you still got stuff to figure out, right? And most of the time, find it in your heart, and you find it in your gut, not in your head. It's in that faith. Okay, your body will be fused with your spirit eventually. That's what I believe. That's what I've been taught, okay, by God. So we die, spirit and body separates, our body rots away, but all the elements will come together again when we're resurrected one day. The goal is to love and trust your body, all right? Because it is intelligent and patterning with you, right? It's a blessing. So read the literal language of your body. So there's some false beliefs about, oh, my body's broken, this miserable broken body, squeaky, the joints are no good, or whatever it is, the negative thoughts that you adopt from media, the world, society. Stop it, okay? You need to love your body. You need to appreciate it. And as you love it and appreciate every nook and cranny of it, good things will happen. All right? It's kind of a challenge when you've held onto hostility about certain body parts or some things for a long time, but it's powerful, guys. So in the past, I used to wear heels because I hated my height all the time. So now I wear flats most times. Sometimes I wear heels just to feel sexy, and you know, it goes with the outfit and stuff. But it's not so I can, you know, feel tall, and not because I hate being short. All right, so that's awesome. You know, like weight, or you don't like the size of your breasts, or whatever it is. Totally love my body, totally respect it now. And you know, I find that as I find more evidence that it's a good body, it tells me where I need to go, what I need to do to realign myself to God, that I have good health, I have lots of energy, and you know, things are good, clarity, and I have more joy and pleasure in my body. So just awesome all round. All right, so trust that body. It's a blessing, and thank God for it. Okay, and I just want you to remember, just a side note here, that there are people in our world that need to be sick, that want to be sick, and that feel very helpless, right? And they see things on a physical plane only, because you know, you get attention, you get sympathy when you're sick, right? And that's how they get that love. But remember, when your cup is filled, when you're connected to God, the first commandment, you don't need that validation, you don't need that attention, okay? So sometimes you try to help people and help people and help people, and they just won't heal. Oh no, those oils don't work, you know, the supplements don't work. In my head, I'm thinking, let me see if they like this certain oil, and I usually get out the eucalyptus oil. It's the oil of wellness. If they're like, yeah, don't like it, too strong, hey, that tells me that they need to be sick, that they don't see value in wellness. Okay, yeah, so they have to choose to be well. All right, so do your best to help people, but there are those that need to be sick. Okay, you know, because they'll list out all their health concerns, and one of the first things you do when you first meet them, okay, instead of talking about the kids and their, you know, husbands and things that bring them joy, talk about their health and give you a nice rundown of their health history. All right, the next topic is about happiness, joy, and play. All right, remember, our goal is to have joy and peace in this earth. We're progressing towards joy and peace. Yes? Okay, we need to create joy every day and do some fear setting. Okay, so ask yourself, what brings you joy? And sometimes some of us have a hard time with that. Oh, helping people, that's very vague. Stop it. What is it that brings you joy? If you had a magic wish. So this whole day, if you can do stuff that helps you be happy, everything that you're responsible for is all taken care of, everything is okay and safe, what would you do to have fun and joy? So I would answer it playing music, arts and crafts and paint, and hanging out with my family. Those things bring me joy. Calling my sister, talking to my parents and things, those things bring me joy. What about fulfillment? What helps me feel fulfilled? Well, I love seeing people heal emotionally, spiritually, and physically, and to hear some feedback from people about their healing brings me joy. Okay, so that's what I've discovered for me. Now, there's some fears. Sometimes people are so fearful of having joy. They need to hold on to their stresses and their fears for some reason, because it keeps them safe, or they think it keeps them safe, but it actually creates more. So what fear setting is you look at your greatest fear, that shadow in the back of your mind that you kind of look back all the time at. Well, it's time to face it full on. You're going to write down everything that could possibly be scary about that situation, okay, that you're scared of. If you've lost everything, everything's gone, like Job, right? So then the next thing to do after you've identified what makes you scared, because sometimes we don't know what makes us scared, it's just a vague blur here. So now really bring clarity to what you're really scared of, okay, and then have a game plan of what you're going to do if that ever happens, right? Some people might be scared of financial ruin, family, friends, relationship problems, whatever it is. The reason they are fearful is because of disconnection from God, really, okay? But once you connect to God, then you have this game plan. All right, I'm going to connect to God. God's going to guide me and help me fix this and this and this and this, okay? And then you have faced it. You've resolved it, so you never have to go there, right? And now you can face your dreams and your goals, what makes you happy. Some of us know exactly what makes us unhappy, but we don't know what makes us happy. So we're always over here. And guess what? We will create it, because our creative energy is focused in this direction. Zoom, 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 okay? So whose fault is that when all of these things come to pass? Because you're focusing so much on this miserable, shadow. You created it, because we're creative creatures. So face it, connect to God, and resolve those fears. And then over here, keep creating your happiness and peace. Okay? And some of us need to sit down and identify what brings us that beautiful joy. If you could design your life, what's your ideal day, ideal week, ideal month? All right, ask yourself and sit down and answer those questions. Then you can focus on creating this instead of worrying about the negative, okay? So plan for it, set your goals, okay? If you are stressed and life is full of drama, it is because you haven't intentionally chosen joy. Remember that, okay? You can choose joy. Sometimes people think, if I choose joy, then I'm not progressing. Well, that's a false belief, isn't it? Because joy is progression. So clear that out. Find out where that's from, okay? Some people feel like they need stress because it helps motivate them. So I say, hey, so stress pushes you forward? Yeah. And I said, so you're pushed by fear? Yeah. And I said, wouldn't it be better to be pulled by love and faith? Pulled by love and positivity of God? You want to be more like God. You want to be more happy, more pleased, more abundant. Wouldn't that be better? Yeah, it would be. Yeah. So many of us are so used to being shamed or feared into motivating us to do certain things. And we do that to ourselves. Okay? So now we can stop that and consciously change that belief. Okay. So remember, your heart is your compass. Don't do things that drain your life or make you feel fear emotions. Check your heart, okay? What is your heart attached to? Remember, we are slightly outside our discomfort zone because we're excited to create certain things. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's not fear. Okay? It's faith, it's excitement. Okay? It's not impatient, it's not fear. All right, so check that heart. All right, so remember, sometimes life happens and it's sad, right? To the depth of your sorrows is the height of your joy. So remember to surrender to things. Sometimes you have to go through certain trials or refining fires to get to where you need to go. So I mentioned about my hips. It was painful, right? It was stressful. I just didn't know, I couldn't figure it out. But as I eliminated all the different fears that I had, the different excuses that I had, you know, I had to cry it out, let all that yucky energy out. It's uncomfortable, right? But once I let it all out, you know, to that depth of darkness is the equal height of joy that I've experienced. So if you've had a life where you've gone through hell, right, and now you're back, right, be grateful for it because you've got a greater level of joy that you're able to receive. All right, so that's what happiness and joy and play is about. All right, if you want to be happy, you need to create happy, right? And when you are happy, you give license for your children and your husband and everyone else around you to be happy too. I'm happy when my kids are happy. That's crazy. All right, that's attaching yourself to something that is not God. That's the first commandment. Okay, so for those people who feel overwhelmed and they're not happy, okay, guess whose responsibility is it to be happy? Yours, okay? So let's look at the analogy of a plate. You've got all sorts of things on your plate. Yeah, right? You got kids, you got home, you got all these things that you're responsible for. All right, oh, so much to do. Okay, so write it all down. Identify it, because sometimes, because it's all higgledy-piggledy, it looks like there's more than there really is. And when you look at it, you think, oh, well, it's not too bad. All right, you should be grateful, you know, that you have some of these things. You have family, you've got kids and stuff. Some people don't have kids, they don't have a family, right? So now what I would like you to do is put all of that on the altar. Clear your plate. Nothing. You got nothing. Oh, can you imagine that? Nothing on that plate. So what you want to do is take back on the altar things that are important, okay, and just stick with, yeah, I can do this, I can keep doing this. Well, you know what, PTO, it keeps draining me. No, I don't want to do PTO. Scrunch it up, throw it away. Don't need to do it. Just because Mary Sue Beth over here does it doesn't mean you're not a good mom. All right, don't do it. Whatever drains you, don't do it, okay, because you're not on the right path. Right? Maybe you're attaching your happiness to something and someone that's not supposed to be attached to. And then when you sort out your plate, you guard your plate. So when people say, well, I want you to join our club, I want you to, no, you say, no, I'm sorry, I got things to do, my mission, my path. I feel like I'm pretty successful in a lot of things I do. Because of that success, I've got a lot of people who want to recruit me and do their thing. But I have to check in with God. Some of it's really good and it's great ideas. And some of them doesn't make sense to me. So I can say no. Some of them I'm like, oh, I'm not sure, this is good stuff. So I have to check in with God. Is this part of my calling? All right, is come to the table, is it part of my calling? Yes. Feels good, feels right. Yeah, I'm adopting it, add it to my plate. And you have to kind of gather the things on your plate and say, well, is it an end of a season for something on here? We need to toss this one out to make room for that. And that's it. Don't add too much when you don't have enough room on your plate, okay? Don't add more and pile things on when there's no more room, right? That's you. You did that. You have to learn how to organize it, okay? And so with me, it boils down to just a few simple things. And then I'm able to be happy and successful each day. And if I go to bed and I don't wake up, I'm okay. Okay, I'm okay to go home. And, you know, I tell my kids that a lot too. You know, we've done what we need to do in alignment with God. And, you know, you're happy, you're at peace each day. Okay, so that's your responsibility. Anytime you feel overwhelmed, just remember you're trying to eat everything all at once and in one go, right? Everything now. Instead of going, well, this is the order in which I take things on my plate. I approach things one at a time. Okay, so the last thing here is God, life's purpose, and spirituality. So we are spiritual beings living a physical life. Okay, we need to use our power to choose all the time. And you'll recognize your power to choose the more you keep doing this, okay? You'll recognize that you've chosen negative feelings and emotions. You recognize that you've chosen some negative thoughts and beliefs, okay? So now you can choose those positive beliefs and positive feelings. So we are working to be one with God, and that's why we need to connect to Him, and that's why we need to keep that first commandment, that oneness, that unity, like Jesus and God, okay? Be ever ready to return to Him now, like I said earlier. Right? Once you have that and clear your plate and you just have your mission, right, and everything on your plate is consecrated, then you're ready to exit anytime. Okay? You've done your job each day, and that's okay. Right? And really, that's joy. That level of peace is a high level of happiness and joy. Okay? You are important, and you have an important role to play here on earth. Your purpose is to serve humanity in your own way. So you are responsible. You are very responsible for discovering who you are and what gifts and talents, how you're going to bless the world. All right? You measure your success by how well you serve in your calling. Okay? You don't measure it by comparing to people. You know, you don't measure it by the amount of money you get. It's just how well did you do your purpose, your mission. If the people that you are meant to serve are in your circle of influence, have you served them well? Have you served the people in that circle well? Okay, so that's a good measure. Your heart will guide, okay, and do what gives you more life. Lose yourself in the things you need to do, and you will find yourself. Right? As I followed that heart and I just did what I felt like I needed to do, then I realized, oh, I'm an energy healer. Oh, I'm an earth angel, right? You will detect your purpose by your God-given gifts and talents and strengths, okay? And you are never required more to do more than your strength, okay? So you do things one step at a time and you will achieve, okay? And never feel overwhelmed. And if you ever feel overwhelmed, it's because you're trying to do it all in one go. And that's not what God's asked you to do. Okay? So remember, we're going to end here again. By the fruits you may know whether it is from God or not. All right? So as your life produces more healthy, good fruit, strength, power, healing, health, peace, rest, you know that you've connected to God. All right? If you're physical health problems still there, you've got some weight problems still, you've got some other issues, your relationship issues, you're still not anchored in God. Okay? And here's your opportunity to grow and learn and change. All right? I know that, you know, this is the true focus of what we're supposed to do here on earth. And I can testify to you that, you know, it's only through Christ that we can heal completely and change our life. All right, we cannot do anything and everything in our life passively. Everything needs to be intentional. Everything needs to be part of our power to choose. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this overview of energy balancing with faith. Okay, if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and connect with me. We'll have a live healing sessions. I'll add more information. If you go to my website, I'll continue to add a lot of topics, a lot of specific focus, so that I share some of the downloads that I have from heaven. But of course, you have a lot of downloads from heaven too. So I hope that you accept that and recognize that and have a happy, fulfilled life, guys. So I'm sending you lots of love, light, and healing. Bye for now.